Time to find out what the hottest sports cards of the week are. Team, welcome to Sports Cards Pro. I'm Coach Co, and we are going to be using our data tracking tool to find out what the top trending sports cards of the week are. We are on the Sports Cards Pro app. We're going to go into tools. We're going to go into sales volume data. Now, before we jump into the data, I'd like to let you guys know that this is part of the premium features tool. Now, for just $6 a month, you get access to this and many other useful features on the Sports Card Pro app. However, just for tuning in, just for subscribing, just for being a member of the community, we are going to give you access to this absolutely for free just by watching today's video. So now that that is settled, we are going to go into our basketball and top player. 7-day volume is Victor Wembanyama. This is his 2023 Prism Draft Picks card. Like I said, 200 sold. That is over almost double. Our second place of Michael Jordan, who seems to be just on this list constantly. This is what the card looks like right here. This is the raw copy. It sold for $23. It's 17 sales a day. So a lot of these are selling. It's very liquid. This is, basically his only Prism card. Not basically. This is his only Prism card. PSA 10 sales, $600. 9.5s, $100. 9s are $91, 8s, $25.72. So as we've seen with common trends in grading, the early bird gets the worm. So, these first few sales of the 9s and 9.5s, the 10s, those are the ones that you're going to see the biggest markup on. As more and more of these start to surface, chances are the price of these cards are going to go down and fast. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying one of these early on. If this is a card you're looking to purchase, I would personally wait. And as we've seen as well, if you get 8s on your cards, if you don't know what to look for in terms of surface, grading, centering, and edges, surface, not grading, surface, centering, edges, and corners. I don't know why I said grading before. If you don't know what to look for, start looking, start figuring it out, because you do not want to get an 8 because you end up spending the grading fee plus the raw costs and you end up losing money. So now that is strictly from a financial perspective. Obviously, like I said, buy what you like. I'm just trying to give you guys as many tools as possible in order to make the right decisions. Ken Griffey's star rookie is dominating the basketball list. We got Barry Bonds relatively high on this list. We're going to jump into that, actually. 1986 tops traded. This is part of the quote-unquote junk wax era. 47 of them have sold at average price of $4.90 rather. This card got as high as $12.36 back in June of 2021. PSA 10s will get you $290. 9.5s, big drop off there, $120. Biggest drop off is from 9 to 10, where it's $26.41. And as always, with the 8s and the 7s, you see here, it's not worth the cost to grade them. So really, if you're submitting this card, you need to know what you're looking for. The population, as we can go here, so Pop Report, a feature that is part of the Sports Card Pro website. It shows you just how many of these have been graded. So you can see here 4,996 10s, but the vast majority of these cards are grading 8s and 9s. So what is it about yours that makes it not an 8 or 9, potentially a 10? Well, it needs to be pretty perfect, considering they have graded like 60,000 of these. So they know exactly what they're looking for when they get these cards. Okay, team? So you might have a nice copy, but I would highly recommend, if you're sending these in, look at what the 10s look like and be very honest with yourself before submitting a card like this. Next on our list, we have football. Oh, I guess we're going into hockey first. So we got Luke Hughes high on this list. Again, I think this is still spillover from the 2023 Upper Deck. The fact that tons of these have been ripped. People are trying to make their money back whatever they can. A lot of people were chasing one-of-ones. They were chasing parallels. And when you start doing that, the prices start adding up. You need to find a way to recoup. And I think that's why a lot of these are flooding the market. 29 of them have sold over the course of the last 7 days. $41.13. This card is down just a bit from its all-time high initially, which was $47.16. PSA 10 copies are rocking $281.59. A lot of these are stuck at grading right now, though. I would highly recommend, if you have one of these PSA 10s, you happen to get it back quick, I would probably be selling right now. But that's just my 2 cents. 9 fives, $143.41. 9s, $75.21. A little bit of a profit there. Again, it's the early bird gets the worm here. And then we have the 8s as usual, pretty much on par with the raw. All right, now we're actually going to football, I promise. Football. Brock Purdy still high on this list. That man has had a resurgence. And as a result of that, you see the price of these cards, or not the price of these cards, but rather the volume on his stuff has come back. So interesting to note there. We're going to go into Steve Young's 1986 tops. Again, part of the junk wax era. 24 of them have sold in the last 7 days. Obviously a GOAT. $17.57. Raw was the all-time high for this card back in November of 2021. PSA 10 copies, so $3,608. 9 fives, $1,216. 9s, $1,105, and then you have 8s and 7s, where you actually might be profitable. If you hit a 7, barely 8, you will be. So that's pretty cool to see. And unlike a lot of the other junk wax cards, you can see that, you know, it's not in the 60,000s. It's probably closer to 10. But the vast majority of these are graded, you know, 6s, 7s, and 8s. So if you can get into that 9 tier somehow, there's only 190 of them. And then there's only 8 PSA 10s. So that's why I like these pop reports. They kind of give you a little insight into what these typically grade. And so, you know, from my perspective, if I'm submitting something like this, I'm looking at these 10s, I'm looking at these 9s, I'm looking at these 8s, I'm looking at these 7s, I'm looking at these 6s, and seeing how my card matches up. And you should get a pretty good idea based on that as to what your card's going to grade. And again, you need to be very honest with yourself. Next category, we got racing. Max Verstappen's purple out of 2021 Topps Chrome F1. 8 of them have sold. Pretty cool picture. Got Verstappen in the background. I think this is mainly like a photo. And not, of course it's a photo, but I mean, like, this is a case where people really like the photo. The all-time high for this card just set $4.33 since we started tracking. PSA 10s are $32.81. 9 fives, $26.54. PSA 9s, or 9s in general, $17.50. And 8s, $7.29. As we see oftentimes with these lower grades, 7s, 8s, 6s, it barely, if ever, cover the cost of grading. So I'm just gonna make I'm just gonna put a huge disclaimer on every video from now on. Just make sure if you're submitting cards for grading, you know what you're looking for that specific set and the cards in general. Alfonso Davies seems to have a little bit of a takeoff. 10 cards of his have sold in the last 7 days. I think this is because Canada was on the verge of qualifying for the Copa America. They actually did not manage to do that. So now they're going into a playoff in January, I believe. But I think this was like preemptive. This card's all-time high was $23.02 back in April of 2022. It has come down like exponentially to $3.65 rather. PSA 10s, $22.53. 9 fives are right there with them at $22. PSA 9s, $9.82. 8s and 7s, as I've mentioned time and time again, it is just not worth it unless you know that it's going to get, I mean, even a 9 in most cases is not worth it. So grading is very different these days, people. We need to adjust. You need to adjust. I need to adjust. Otherwise, we're going to get stomped and you're going to end up paying an arm and a leg for a card. And now, again, if you just want to grade a card for the sake of grading it, go for it. But if you're talking about getting the most out of your cards, this is probably not how you're going to do it unless you really know what you're looking for and you're very, very particular in what you're submitting. Paddy Pimblett is relatively high on the UFC list. 4 sales. This is for his 2021 Panini Instant. I remember when this card debuted and people were hot on it. $9.25 was the all-time high back in November of 2022. It has come down a lot as well. $3.71 is where it sits now. PSA 10 copies, $15.50. 9 fives are $15. 9s, $10.40. 8s, oof, $2. Imagine paying $2 for a graded card. I mean, it's pretty cool for the buyer, but I mean, as a seller, that is rough. It barely covers fees. Final category we've got here, it's wrestling. John Cena's silver out of 2023 Panini Select WWE Icons. 6 of them have sold for $3.99. Pretty cool looking card, if you ask me. This card's all-time high. It's $3.99 right now since we started tracking. PSA 10s, $43.23. 9.5s, $28.78. 9s, $14.65. 8s, same trend. So one of the things I like talking about the most is trends. That's what this information is for. This information is for everybody to see trends and to make constructive decisions. I guess it's educated decisions. It would be constructive arguments if we were arguing, but making informative decisions, educated decisions when they're buying and selling, and now even grading your sports cards. We are also going to jump into some product. So we're going to go into, let's go into some baseball wax, and we'll go into retail boxes. Let's do it. So we also have wax available on this. They track. We're going to go into search and filter. Instead of going by popularity, we're going to go highest to lowest. 2003 Upper Deck Victory, $1,700. 2005 Topps Chrome Baseball, $1,374. 2021 Panini Mosaic Baseball, $1,000. That's wild. 2001 Topps Chrome Baseball. I think that'd be a fun rip. $955.95. 2006 Allen and Ginter, $934.95. Again, 2001 Topps Traded. I think that'd be a fun rip too. $770.95. Team, as always, do not forget to like, subscribe, comment on this video. The more times you engage, the more opportunity we have to create content and to share more fun and exciting things with you. Not to mention we get to know you a little bit better. And I mean, that's my goal. I know that's our goal as a channel. As always, let us know what your favorite card is that we tracked today, and maybe what cards you want us to dive into a little bit further next time. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Coach Co and Sports Cards Pro are out of here.